Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, I'm Carissa Sheila and I'm a mom to a 1-year-old as well as a wife to a mechanical engineer. And if you're not new here, well, hey, welcome back. I'm super glad to have you. If you aren't new, then you already know this, but if you are new, hey, I post at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday and Friday and occasional Monday. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our posts. Today is my book reviews for the month of March. I am on a goal to hit 175 books by the end of the year. I am on track right now. I think I'm at like 40 something books right now for the year. I just got my new shirt in and I'm super excited, and it says I can't right now, I'm reading hot girl shit, hashtag moms who read. I'm so excited. So yeah, this month I read a little less only because there was a series in here that was really long, but we'll get to that. As always, if you're not new, but if you are here and new to my channel for my book review, I read romance novels, raunchy romance novels full of smut and everything like that. I really do like that. If that's not your jam, I'm sorry, but that's what I like to read. And yeah, I will post covers here, what I recommend, and as well as the spice level of each book. And if you don't follow me on Instagram or TikTok, my TikTok is not so much book reviews as much as it is finding characters who would look like people that I read about. As well as my Instagram, I do post all my reviews there early, so right as soon as I finish them, I do post them right over there. Yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, I read a bunch of series this month, so some of them are a lot longer than normal, so we'll get into this. The first 3 books I read were the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart. The first book is Flock, second book is Exodus, and third book is Finish Line. It is a I don't consider it a reverse harem. If you're new here and you don't know what a reverse harem is, it is a book with one girl and at least 3 guys, and she won't pick one to make her happy ending. Like, her happy ending is typically with all of them. They consider this a reverse harem because, like, they have 3 guys in here, but at the end she does end up with just one of them. So the characters are Cecilia, Dom or Dominic, they use both, Sean, and Tobias. You start the book off with Cecilia, who is raised by her mom, and to get her inheritance from her dad, she has to go live with her dad and stay with him for a year and work for his company for a year to get his large inheritance to her. And so she goes to work for them. It's a very small town in North Carolina, and she meets Sean at work on the first day, who ends up being her supervisor. And Sean is like friends with Dominic, and they meet and they all hang out, and they don't want her a part of it. Dawn doesn't want her a part of their group for different reasons, which you would find out in the book, but they end up both falling in love with her. And something that I love about this series is that they use music as a huge part of the points in the book to translate things to the love and the characters about that. And I love bringing music and books together. I think it's a fantastic thing. I like to listen to the playlist as much as I love reading the book at sometimes the same time, or I like to definitely listen to a playlist after to feel like what the author was feeling during that time. But this particular series actually writes in like the music like certain songs to be a part of it, which I think is really kind of cool and fascinating. So they go through falling in love kind of with her, but they also have to break it up before somebody finds out about her, which would be Tobias, which is like the leader of the Raven Hood Boys like group, which you find out kind of in the second book. I have heard the first book like kind of drags out for people, and it's better in the second book, and then the third book ties all the stories together completely. I really enjoyed the first book. I really enjoyed the whole storyline all the way through. With that being said, I do give it a 15 out of 10. The spice, I think, was like around a 3 or 4, because like I feel like it was like spicy in the first one, then it got spicy in the second one, then the third one was like, there's a lot of like stuff going on in the third one that doesn't really add in spice, but you kind of understand why. Totally recommend. It's a great series. I've talked about it a lot and shown a lot on my Instagram, so yes, go read it. The next one is Daddy's Angel by K.A. Knight. K.A. Knight is the author of Den of Vipers, which I've already talked about in my January book review, I believe. Anywho, Daddy's Angel is a age gap relationship. Lexi is dating this guy named Justin, and they go to his dad's party where they meet Tyler, who is Justin's dad. Through the little bit of the start, Justin ends up cheating on Lexi, and prior to that you kind of feel like a sexual tension between Tyler and Lexi, and every time that they're over at his house or whatever. So when Justin breaks up with Lexi because he cheated on her, she ends up sleeping with his dad, and they kind of get into a relationship, and it's a lot of smut with a very short, small plot line, and like I'm not gonna ruin the plot because that's the small little thing there, I guess. But if you're looking for that, it's totally good. It's an age gap, so if you're okay with that, that's all you. I thought it was decent. It's like a 10 out of 10 for me. It's not my all-time favorite, but it wasn't like one of the worst books I've ever read. The next one was Playboy Pilot by Penelope Ward and V. Keelan. Oh my god, this book was just so cute. It's with Carter, who is like the Playboy pilot. He's slept his way through a bunch of the flight attendants or going on different trips and just sleeping around. And then he meets Kendall in the airport one day and kind of convinces her to go on his flight to Brazil. And Kendall is trying to figure out her life because there's like an inheritance thing that she needs to figure out. The clause is telling her she has to have like a kid, and she's not ready for that, but at the same time like she's trying to figure out what she should do about it because she needs the money. She was always like a trust fund baby kind of thing. So she's trying to figure out that stipulation about the will and inheritance while she meets Carter, and Carter is not who he like seems. Besides the pilot thing, he ends up being like this like down-to-earth guy outside of being a pilot and on his days off, which is really cool. And again, just like the Ravenhood series, music is a big part of it. There is music parts written into the book, which I thought was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of Beatles music and a little bit older generation stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Definitely put on your list. The next few books are my long series. This took me a while to read, and I'm a pretty fast reader. I can get through a book within like a day and a half, and these were taking me like 2 to 3 days because that's how long of a book they are. I think physical copies put them out like 800 pages or something, and this is the, I know nobody calls it. I think the series name in general is actually like the Brutal Boys of like Everlake Academy. But if you've been on Book Talk or any of that, nobody uses that saying or phrase or anything. They call it the Kings of Quarantine, which is the first book. So it goes Kings of Quarantine, Kings of Lockdown, Kings of Anarchy, and then the last book is Queen of Quarantine. And it is based on these, it doesn't feel like they should be in high school, but they're high school kids, and this is a reverse harem. It's with Saint, Cayenne, Blake, Monroe, and Tatum, and Tatum was dropped off by her dad to go to Everlake Academy. This is for the rich and elite kids around that Sequoia state, and Saint's dad is the mayor. Then you have Blake's dad, who owns like the football team. Cayenne's dad or family is like the giant mafia, and then Monroe is the teacher. So Tatum is sent to the academy, and she meets these boys who are like the king of the school. They live in like the church on the property, and like they just don't follow anybody's rules, especially because Saint's dad is the governor. Where Tatum, they all find out relatively fast that Tatum's dad is possibly the reason why the Hades virus, which is why they're all in quarantine. It's really weird to like read about that when we're going through what we were going through. This virus like has a 60% kill rate, like, so people pretty much die if you catch it. And you go through the findings of that her dad really isn't the guy who did it. There's a bunch of other stuff that gets all mixed in between. The first book is very, very, very heavily bullying. So if you get through the first book, it gets 120% better from there. But the first book is very rough. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not for the faint of heart for most, because how much they bully her, it's so rough. But she does get her revenge back and everything that comes together. It is amazing. The character development is chef's kiss. It is totally wow. I've read some good like character development, and this one by far loved. The next one is a standalone reverse harem, which is 8 Seconds to Fly by Grace McGrady. You'll see the cover right here, and I'm sorry if I butcher that. This is with Tessa May, Branch, Bo, Frankie, and Dylan. And Tessa May is wanting to break into the professional bull riding world, which we all know that is like a boys club. Like, they don't want girls riding in the bull riding scenario. So she's like trying to break in, and ever since she was a kid she's always wanted to do it. The story starts off with her like doing her first ride, and then her dad kind of getting mad because he doesn't really want her into that life, but he's like super proud of her for riding as well as she did though, and ends up getting in a car accident. So she has to move to California with her aunt. And so Branch and Bo are her friends from childhood. And Branch's dad was her dad's business partner. So like they kind of knew each other as kids growing up, and then they meet back up later in life, as Branch is a bull rider and Bo is like his sports doctor pretty much. And then Dylan is a high ranking bull rider coming up in the series, and then Frankie is her best friend now, who's a bullfighter, so he helps them all together. They all meet and they become like a one thing together. It's really interesting. It's awesome that it's kind of like a girls sports introduction. Like, I think it's really cool that shows like girls getting into a boys sport, but it also shows control and all that. And of course there's a little bit of drama that happens because of her trying to get into the boys sport. Alright, the last book of this, which is a total of 11 books for this month, which is Tease Me by Faith Summers. This book is great. It's a mafia trope, which is one of my like kind of favorites, like the billionaire mafia stance. I really like that trope right now. And it is the Dark Odyssey series, but they're like each standalones, and each of the brothers within this family, mafia family. This one focuses on Nick and Mia, and Nick is the kind of the accountant book owner for Dark Odyssey, and that's Sex Club for the elite. And Mia is a lawyer graduate from Harvard, and she had to come back home to help her dad pay for her brother's debt to the drug cartel. So they're like really hurting for money and having to pay these people back. And so she gets a job at the Dark Odyssey as Nick's personal like waitress, which is pretty much kind of like not really a waitress, if you catch my drift. But they end up like having like this awesome connection when they first meet, and he offers her $100,000 salary to stay there to be his personal waitress. And lo and behold, like their worlds are interconnected without even knowing it, which like just adds to the plot. The spice was incredible. The book was incredible. I can't wait to meet the other brothers of this series. Like, you obviously get a little bit of their storyline, but like I'm really excited to read further into them. But right now, as I'm speaking, I'm reading Anarchy by T. James, which is the second book in the Hades series. It just came out. The first book, I talked about it back in, I think, February or January, one of the two. And so the second book just came out. I'm stoked. I've heard so many good things so far. I just had a couple other books that I was finishing up before that, so I can't wait to tell you more in April's recommendation. I'm super stoked. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. I hope you guys got a book that you'll want to read. I'm really excited. I love talking books or anything. So if you want to talk books, mention them down in the comments below, or hit me up on Instagram. I love talking about books with you guys. So I will leave all the books down below for Amazon if you want to pick up a copy or put it into your Kindle. Either way, I do read on my Kindle. So all of these are, yes, all of these were KU. I'm not sure if they're on Libby or not. I'm sorry. I do pay for Kindle Unlimited, so I just tend to use it. I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, know when I'm posting next. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.
Turning out to be a perfect day. I just wanna leave our normal lives behind.